5-Minute Habits for Healthy Living. Today's habit is drive safely. Hello, this is Dr. Brian Morris, and welcome to 5-Minute Habits for Healthy Living, where you will learn the tools to practice a healthy lifestyle 5 minutes at a time. Life has become very complicated with a seemingly endless amount of health information at our fingertips. How do you know what to believe and what not to believe? On this podcast, I will sort through the maze of healthcare information and distill it into easy-to-digest, time-tested, evidence-based practical habits. I've been practicing internal medicine for 20 years. I went to medical school at Johns Hopkins. I trained at Yale, and I previously held a teaching position at Harvard Medical School. I currently practice medicine and hold a teaching appointment at UCLA Medical School here in Los Angeles, where I teach these habits to medical students, house staff, doctors, and of course, to my patients. Before we get to this week's habit, I'd like to remind you that the information contained in this podcast and at 5minutemd.com is intended solely for educational purposes and should not be used to diagnose, treat, or prevent any health condition or illness. This information may not apply to a specific health situation and is not a substitute for medical care by a qualified, licensed, board-certified healthcare professional. Please consult with your healthcare provider before implementing any of the ideas in this podcast or making any changes in your healthcare regimen. This week's habit is called Practice Safe Driving Habits. When I start talking to a patient about this habit, I usually see one of those knowing head nods. We all know that safe driving is crucial in this day and age. We also know that the quality of many people's driving habits has been declining for years, and there's many reasons for this. It used to be that the radio or a passenger were the only things that would distract a driver. However, now with the advent of smartphones, iPads, GPS gadgets, and a host of other items, driving a car has become a much more complicated endeavor. I remember as a child watching my father trying to control my brother and me while we drove down the highway and marvel at how my father was able to do this while he drove the car. But that was nothing compared to the way things are today. Today I see people trying to drink their coffee, text their friends, listen to the radio, check directions on the GPS, check Facebook, and calm their children down in the back seat all while they drive the car. It is simply much too much for people to do while driving a car if their goal is to arrive at the destination safely. A recent study by the Governor's Highway Safety Association looked at 350 scientific papers and found that about 20% of all car accidents are linked to smartphone usage. 20%! That means if people stop checking their phones while driving, we would immediately have 20% fewer car accidents on the road. That is staggering, but it is true. Here are some other stats to think about. Texting while driving makes a driver 23 times more likely to crash. Drivers talking on a cell phone are 4 times more likely to have a car accident. Texting while driving causes a 400% increase in time spent with eyes off the road. Other important statistics to talk about include that 15 to 19-year-olds make up the largest proportion of distracted drivers. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, texting while driving kills 11 teenagers each day. 21% of distracted teenagers involved in fatal car accidents were distracted by cell phones. Many of these accidents cause serious injuries, sometimes even death. It is vitally important that people get back to simply focusing on driving. My proposal is that we get a bit old-fashioned when it comes to driving. Don't use a smartphone or tablet while you drive. Never text or email while you drive. Again, never text or email while you drive. Never check your smartphone. Never check your tablet while you drive. Remember, for many, many years, we lived our lives without smartphones and tablets. Somehow we were able to drive from point A to point B without a smartphone or tablet. We can get back to driving like that again. If you really have to check those devices or if you have to make a phone call, pull off to the side of the road at a safe location and then use the devices. Otherwise, wait until you reach your destination and then make your phone call or check your device. Probably the easiest way to accomplish not looking at your smartphone or tablet is to make sure that those devices are put away before you start driving your car. That may mean putting those devices in your trunk or in the back seat, but make sure that they are not accessible to you when you start your car. Then you won't be able to grab those devices when they start to vibrate. Make it a priority to not look at your smartphone or tablet while you drive. Focus on keeping your family, your friends, and yourself safe. Let's keep the dialogue going. Let me know what you think of this week's Habit for Healthy Living. Post your comments and your experiences on the 5 Minute MD Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Brian Morris MD and visit us anytime at 5minutemd.com. Let your friends know about the podcast and make sure that you are subscribed on iTunes. When you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, you will receive new podcast episodes as soon as they are posted. Also, we will be posting bonus podcast episodes at 5minutemd.com, including special podcast episodes not available on iTunes or YouTube. If you're finding the information on this podcast helpful, you may want to check out these episodes as well. And lastly, if you have a few minutes, stop on by iTunes and leave our podcast a review. Thank you so much for listening, and remember to make today count. I will see you at the next 5.